Welcome. It's nationwide on the network service of the NTA. We thank you for joining us. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has ordered the sureties of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, to deposit their bond in cash with the court. Justice Benita Nyako gave the interim order for the failure of the sureties to produce Nnamdi Kanu before the court to answer the criminal charges preferred against him. Dele Atumbi has more.
3 sureties who stood in for Nnamdi Kanu are Senator Inyinaya Abaribe, Emmanuel Echelon, and Tochukwu Uchendo. Though one of the sureties was in court, the other 2, including Senator Abaribe, were absent. During the resumed hearing of the case, the sureties failed to produce Nnamdi Kanu in court against their bail bond. The prosecution counsel, Magaji Labaran, told the court that the sureties should show cause for their failure to produce the defendant. Counsel to Senator Abaribe, Sukuma Ume, SAN, pleaded with the court that his client went on oversight function, a situation which the court frowned at. The court also frowned at the inability of the sureties to produce the defendant in court to answer to the charge before him. Justice Binta Nyako explained that suretyship is an agreement between the court and the sureties to always produce the defendant in their custody whenever his attention is needed in court. It is in the light of this that Justice Nyako ordered that the sureties should make deposit of their bail bond of 100 million naira each to the court within the next 2 months. This interim order will last for just 6 months, and failure of the sureties to produce Nnamdi Kanu before the court will lead to a consequential order of forfeiture.
The order given by the court for the sureties to deposit the sum of the bail bond is a fair one, and as you are all aware again, 2 months is given within which such money should be deposited.
Because there is need to inform this court properly. Already a suit has been ignited on the basis of that unfounded information. And so we don't want this court to throw that line of going with unfounded information. Yes.
Nnamdi Kanu is standing trial for treasonable felony. The case has been adjourned to 28th of March 2019. In Abuja, Dele Atumbi, NTA News.
Our next set of reports from the National Assembly. The Senate Committee on Public Accounts has requested the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation to provide a comprehensive report on financial operations of special funds accounts within 2 weeks. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim reports that the committee was at the Treasury House as part of its oversight functions.
To ensure continuum in service delivery, government at one time or the other had disbursed funds from special funds account that derive their income from the Federation account, especially to meet the financial deficit of its agencies. The Nigerian Armed Forces is amongst the financial beneficiaries of the service-wide fund.
There is no agency of government that should not account for, any sum or amount that is given to it. I'm talking particularly the armed forces, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force.
Now, the Senate Committee is demanding a comprehensive document that traces financial transactions from these special funds account to ensure accountability in the system.
Please, you update us between May 2017 and October 2018. What is left of service-wide votes, all of them.
The committee is also worried that some government agencies are yet to respond to the queries emanating from the annual report of the audit. In the views of the Accountant General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, his office is doing the needful to ensure due diligence and efficiency in its operations.
We are going to prepare the federal government financial statements using the GIFMIS system, which makes it easier. Further information on these receipts and disbursements from special accounts will be made available to Senate public accounts as may be required.
To ensure that due process is followed in the disbursement and management of public funds, the Accountant General of the Federation also demanded for a review of some of the Establishment Act. From the Treasury House in Abuja, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Senate has frowned at teachers' training institutes that give less attention to teachers' training in their budget implementation. The Senate Committee on Basic and Secondary Education, during its 2018 budget performance meeting with some agencies under Ministry of Education, reminded them of their core functions. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nko has that report.
As a prelude to the 2018 budget presentation and consideration, the various ministries and departments of government have been presenting their 2018 budget performance before the concerned parliamentary committees. The Senate Committee on Basic and Secondary Education met with 5 education agencies for their 2018 budget performance. After presentations by the Teachers Registration Council, National Board for Islamic and Arabic Studies, the committee observed inadequate attention to teachers' training in the budget analysis.
The TRCN is constructing a second building at the headquarters, and that is where the 11.376 million that is given to us is going.
We are very keen about quality of our teachers. That is why we have that program of quality assurance and standardization program.
As far as I'm concerned, we are not paying nearly enough attention to the quality of teachers and to training and retraining of teachers.
The West African Examination Council, Nigeria and International, and the Nigeria Teachers Institute also defended their 2018 budget performance. Meanwhile, the Senate Committee on Petroleum Downstream has summoned the Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria to appear before it next week Tuesday to answer questions on why the petroleum marketers being owed by government are yet to receive their payment as advised by the National Assembly.
We have resolved to invite CB and Governor and Minister of Finance to appear before this committee unfailingly on Tuesday.
The directive came after the Apex Bank failed to appear before the committee at this meeting. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nko, NTA News.
The House of Representatives has mandated its Committee on Police Affairs to carry out an investigation on recent promotions in the Nigeria Police Force. The aim is to ascertain whether or not such promotions were done in accordance with constitutional provisions and general promotion guidelines of the Nigeria Police Force. The House also adopted a motion urging the Inspector General of Police to direct the Adamawa State Command to intensify patrol in some areas of the state to curb kidnapping of farmers and other citizens. In the meantime, the House has suspended plenary to Tuesday, 20th November due to technical issues affecting public address system inside the Green Chamber. Senator Hope Uzodinma, representing Imo Senatorial District, has described as false the story of his arrest by a special task force. At a media briefing in Abuja, the senator said the story is a concocted one by those he described as his detractors who are not on the path of progress. He also refuted the allegation peddled in some sections of the media that he lobbied his way to clinch the Imo State governorship candidacy.
Now we are talking. Well, I was never arrested. Like you saw or heard. In the same manner, I read over the papers that I was arrested. I was never arrested. But the truth of the matter is that the special panel headed by the chairman, Obla, wrote me sometimes last month, asking for my asset declaration forms, alleging that I didn't declare my assets. I replied him and attached my declaration forms. And in fact, I copied the letter to the Attorney General of the Federation, whom I suppose he's working under. And I thought that brought to a close the matter. And after that, nothing happened again. The next thing I heard is that I've been arrested last Sunday at Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport. Let me say that I don't want to begin to allow certain words come out of my mouth, like what you just called. Did you call it be or bribe? I'm not part of that, and I don't think that chairman of APC that I know can compromise for anything.
Now, still on matters concerning politics, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has signed a peace pact with the 5 political parties that are contesting in the by-election holding this Saturday. This was at a meeting convened by INEC in Ilorin, the state capital. Kemi Bisisani reports.
The signing of peace accord meeting was convened to extract assurance from the Independent National Electoral Commission, security agencies, political parties and other stakeholders that the upcoming by-election in the state will be credible. The President Electoral Commissioner in Kwara State, Malam Garba Atairu Madami, pledged that the election slated for Saturday will be credible and devoid of any form of manipulation that could make the process not acceptable by the people.
We don't use provocative language when we are campaigning. No hate speeches, please. Let's campaign based on issues.
To advise ourselves to see where, what could be done to make sure that we have a very fair, conclusive election come November 17, 2018.
The representatives of the 5 political parties that signified their interest for the by-election all signed the peace accord.
Make sure that no rancor throughout the election. And we are ready to abide by rules and regulations of the Nigerian Constitution and the Electoral Act.
Assurance that our party should be counted out of any forms of irregularities, violence.
They urged the Independent National Electoral Commission and security agencies in the state to remain resolute and vigilant in ensuring a fair play. Kemi Bisisani, NTA News.
Our next report from Dutse says, members of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Jigawa State have pledged to bury their differences and work towards the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari and other candidates of the party in the 2019 general election. This was during the inauguration of APC reconciliation committees by Governor Mohammed Badaru Abubakar. Awal Mohammed Kazaure has details.
Members of the Reconciliation Committee were drawn from the 3 senatorial zones of the state. They are also to select 20 members in each local government to go around the state and reconcile all passive aggrieved members in the aftermath of primary elections in the interest of the party. Governor Muhammad Badaru Abubakar appreciated the commitment of all party stakeholders who are ever ready to move the APC forward. The governor expressed optimism that APC will triumph at the forthcoming 2019 general elections at all levels.
Those that loses out need to be talked to and a kind of reconciliation. But I've seen most of them are here, but it's always good to talk to them and to assure them that we know that they have contested and they are aspirants and the party will never forget about them.
The state chairman of the APC, Alhaji Ado Sanikiri, acknowledged the support and cooperation from members, which he says facilitates development in the party and the state. Other speakers call for collective effort to move the party forward.
All we have to do is just to come together and cooperate in order to build the party.
The Reconciliation Committee has 2 weeks to submit its report. From Dutse, Awal Muhammad Kazaure, NTA News.
Lagos is our first stop on Nationwide, where Elizabeth Omori is waiting to give update on INEC workshop on election monitoring centers. Good to see you, Elizabeth. Over to you.
It's nice to see you too, Lydia, and thanks for joining us in Lagos. Towards 2019 general elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is organizing training workshop in each of the 6 geopolitical zones. The training is for officials operating in the election monitoring and support centers nationwide. Paul Omokago has details of the South-West Zonal Workshop in Lagos.
The 2-day INEC Election Monitoring and Support Center workshop is examining conduct of past elections and challenges for improved performance in the 2019 elections. With the ultimate aim of having a successful election, INEC National Commissioner for Lagos, Ogun, and Ondo states, Adekunle Ogumola, urged participants to show commitment.
It is expected that states will provide timely information
within the time frame specified on the MSA platform to ensure that we are proactive.
Special Assistant to INEC Chairman, Professor Muhammad Kuna, in a keynote address says the workshop is all about fine-tuning and improving on lapses. It tasked participants to avail themselves of the presence of experienced INEC officials to ask questions that will impact on their operational activities.
We need stakeholder engagement. We need to relate with civil society organizations. We need to tell people what we are doing, how we are doing it, and hear from them.
There is a tool that has been developed to help us monitor and, as you can see, support the system in conducting elections.
The workshop seeks to build capacity on the use of data collection tools, reporting tools, validation process, and general usage of EMSC platform resources. In Lagos, Paul Omukagu, NTA News.
One of the avoidable obstacles to the free flow of traffic in parts of major commercial areas in Lagos State is the encroachment of traders on the highways. To checkmate the menace, the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing has embarked on right-of-way recovery. Mohammed Abdulkadri reports.
Alex Chukwuemeka says motoring community goes through untold hardship navigating a federal road at the popular Ladipo market.
It's making things difficult for people every now and then. Okay. There was a day we came here, we spent over 3 hours.
A couple of months ago, the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing fixed this road to make it motorable for the public. But what we see today is the hindrance being constituted by traders who display their goods right on the way.
Individual businesses should not disturb other road users.
The experience of the likes of Emeka, whose ease of doing business is suffering setback around Apapa Port, Badagry and Isolo Motion, as well as other areas owing to trading on the street, made the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing to swing into action. On point, leading a crackdown exercise with the backup of police task force for the recovery of the right-of-way is the Lagos State Federal Controller of Power, Works and Housing.
Don't want them to unnecessarily shut down federal highway.
Since it is characteristics of some people to resist change, leading to a breakdown of gentleman agreement with some traders to stop encroaching on the infrastructural road assets. This is a tip of the iceberg of what they got as deterrent to others. Those who complied say they are not averse to change for public good.
And we have been complying. It's not an easy to control a human being.
Similar enforcement for the recovery of the right-of-way awaits motor dealers along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. In Lagos, Muhammad Abdulkadri, NTA News.
And that's a contribution from Lagos at this hour. Over now to Lydia in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Many thanks, Elizabeth. With the dry season setting in, contractors handling work on the federal roads across the country are expected to move to sites for the continuation of road projects affected by rains. Minister Babatunde Fashola, while briefing the press at the end of the Federal Executive Council meeting in Abuja, said the Federal Ministry of Power, Works and Housing secured 2 memoranda for the completion of the contract in Ilorin, Omuaran to Kaba Road project. The other road projects, as stated by the minister, is that of Odukpani Junction at Akpet Central in Cross River State, a 73-kilometer road at the cost of 14.014 billion naira. Participants at a week-long workshop on peace building in Taraba State have been challenged to be vanguards of peace for the overall growth and development of the country. Joseph Zana Gambo reports that the workshop was organized by the Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiative, PCNI.
organized by the Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiative, aims at enhancing capacity of the participants for effective peace building and reconciliation processes in the Northeast. Chairman of the committee, General Theophilus Njuma, retired, represented by a member representing Gombe State, Mr. Aliyu Kamara, says although the Boko Haram insurgency led to destruction of public infrastructure and loss of lives in the Northeast region, the most devastating consequence remains the onslaught on social cohesion.
Therefore, we want them to take this message seriously and to help, since they are the leaders, down to the grassroots.
Bauchi State Governor, represented by his special advisor on security, General Ladan Yusuf, retired, commenced the Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiative for the workshop, adding that it will go a long way in improving the capacity of the participants to perform their respective duties.
Therefore, using this opportunity to ask Mr. Chairman to please consider Bauchi in whatever they do to take care of this, problem.
Other stakeholders also commend the committee and pledge support for success of all programs by the committee in Bauchi State. The participants, who are Sharia court judges, imams, and traditional leaders, express satisfaction with the training. The workshop, according to the organizer, is going to be continuous. In Bauchi, Adamu Haruna Adams, NTA News.
And from Damaturu comes a report that says the federal government has continued to take proactive steps towards ensuring durable solutions to the plight of victims of the Boko Haram insurgency. Federal Commissioner for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Sadia Umar Farouk, stated this in Damaturu, Yobe State, while flagging off the distribution of empowerment materials to victims of the insurgency in the state. Hussein Mohammed Issa reports.
The consignment, which the first phase comprises of starter packs on soap making for indigent women, generator set for irrigation farming, sewing machines, among other empowerment tools, were distributed for the affected victims of insurgency in Yobe with the aim of restoring their means of livelihood. Flagging off the distribution, the Federal Commissioner of National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Sadia Umar Farouk, said the motive is to once again preserve the dignity of victims of insurgency and encourage them to become self-reliant. She said the special interventions were created to solve the specific challenges faced by the persons concerned in the state, and in doing so complement the efforts of the state government in the education sector through the distribution of educational materials.
National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons recognizes and applauds the consistent efforts of the government of President Muhammadu Buhari to bring in an end to insurgency in the Northeast and Nigeria at large.
Receiving the items on behalf of Yobe State Government, the Deputy Governor Abubakar Aliyu directed for the immediate distribution of the items to the target beneficiaries and challenged them not to sell them but use them to better their living conditions.
I'm happy that these items have been targeted to the returnees and IDPs living in host communities.
High point of the event was the symbolic presentation of the items for the selected beneficiaries. Damatu Hussein Mohammed Issa, NTA News.
Still on IDPs, Governor Simon Lalong has assured the people of Plateau State of safe return of all internally displaced persons as government has measures to ensure their resettlement. He gave the assurance while receiving the committee report on the resettlement of IDPs in the state. Paul Dama reports.
The report, which is in 4 volumes, is made up of the main reports, the report from the Birom community, report from the Fulani community, and that of the internally displaced persons. Governor Simon Lalong, who highlighted some strategic initiatives by government at engendering peace and security, said the establishment of the 205 Combat and Rescue Unit in Kerang, the Mobile Police Squadron in Shandam, and the recent approval for Barkin Ladi will not only prevent a recurrence, but also fast-track the resettlement of IDPs.
I also gave assurance that there will be no land grabbing and that all displaced persons will be resettled and rehabilitated in their original places of abode.
Chairman of the 7-man committee, Air Vice Marshal Baladan Baba, retired, said a total of 55 memoranda were received from the affected communities.
It ascertained a total of 59,008 affected persons in 5 local government areas, of which, out of this, a total of 1,891 persons were said to have lost their lives.
Part of recommendations of the committee include putting in place adequate security measures to ensure a safe return of IDPs to their original places of abode, and also setting up of a victims support program and helping to improve dialogue among communities. In Jos, Paul Dama, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Let's now join Kemi in Ibadan for more on Nationwide. Hello, Kemi.
Thank you, Lydia, and a warm welcome to Ibadan. Today is World Diabetes Day. It is set aside by the United Nations to raise global awareness on the disease, which has assumed a global concern. In this special report, Adebola Ogulano x-rays the day, which has as its theme, the family and diabetes.
Early detection and treatment of diabetes involves family. This is why the World Diabetes Team for this year focuses on diabetes and family. 80-year elder Oladapo has been managing diabetes for the past 15 years.
I use my medication regularly, and I keep what I was told not to be doing. I refuse to do it. I want to be away from alcoholic something.
Diabetes, according to experts, comes in 2 types, which requires daily treatment, regular monitoring, and healthy lifestyle.
Type 1 has some infective causes. That is, there are some infections that the individual will develop an antibody, and this antibody actually affects the organ that produces insulin.
WHO says every adult World Health Organization should have at least 30 minutes of moderate physical exercise, brisk walking. What else can we do by achieving a healthy diet?
Although some believe there are orthodox cure to diabetes, experts says there's no medical proof.
And if they give you the medicine for that thing, I'm sure that the thing will cure.
With the theme, the family and diabetes, households have been advised to be cognizant of their health. In Ibadan, Adebola Ogulano, NTA News.
The need to shun hate speech, fake news and violence before, during and after the 2019 general elections has again been stressed. Participants at a stakeholders election forum in Ibadan say this will enhance credible, free and fair elections. Correspondent Shola Wahid reports that the forum was at the instance of INEC in Oyo State.
Less than 100 days to the 2019 general elections, stakeholders are sensitized on the need to avoid unguided utterances. In a lecture titled Towards Credible 2019 General Elections and Civil Campaigns, Professor Tajuddin Akonji urged electorates not to see politics as do-or-die affairs or misconstrue dividends of democracy as money politics.
That you must be looking for a situation where Nigerians now exercise freedom to choose who they want to be able to represent them.
President Electoral Commissioner in Oyo State, Mutiu Agboke, said INEC has put in place necessary machineries to ensure credible, free and fair elections.
Instead of just taking the risk of allowing parties to commence campaigns like that, let us bring all the stakeholders together. Campaigns will start. So we want to bring all the candidates together to be able to sensitize them more.
91 political parties are expected to participate in the 2019 general elections, with 47 marking their presence in Oyo State. In Ibadan, Shola Wahid, NTA News.
Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola has appealed to the Senate to speed up processes on the refund of about 24.6 billion naira spent by his administration on federal roads in the state. He made the appeal while receiving the Senate Committee on Works during their oversight function to the state. Femi Afariogun reports.
Members of the Senate Committee on Works, led by its chairman, Senator Kabiru Gaya, were in the state in continuation of their nationwide oversight inspections of all federal roads. Senator Kabiru Gaya said out of the 28 states the committee had visited, Osun State government remained one of the few that had performed in terms of road construction, especially on federal roads. He, however, frowned at the deplorable condition of the Osogbo-Ilesha road, promising that all contractors handling federal roads in the state would be properly checked. Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola said President Buhari's government had brought infrastructural development to the country, commended the effort of the Senate Committee on Works at ensuring quality jobs are done on federal roads across the country. His government, he says, recognized that good roads are key to economic growth, and that led to the massive road projects embarked upon by his administration. He appealed to the committee to urgently do something about the Osogbo-Ilesha road and also to ensure the refund of the money used by the state government on some federal roads in the state. In Osogbo, Femi Afariogun, NTA News.
Many thanks, Femi, and that's it from Ibadan. Nationwide continues after this timeout. Stay with us.
It's not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There's no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
2030. As a successor framework for the Millennium Development Goals, the global community rolled out a bigger, deeper, and more encompassing framework called the Sustainable Development Goals, designed to transform our world, lift the poor out of poverty, as well as ensure inclusive and healthy society. On Agenda 2030, we take you on a media trip to the global destination of the future we want. With everyone on board, we focus on the people and their struggle, the civil society and their agitations, the government and her development effort. The Global Development Agenda, its 17 goals and 169 targets. We bring you all the deliberations, insightful conversations, and high-level partnerships on the road to global destination. Agenda 2030, showing on this channel. Agenda 2030, leaving no one behind.
I'm Sipasi Olaleko Ayodele. I'm based here in Ikorodu, Lagos State. I'm the founder of Protector Zone. We train children, youth, and farmers in sustainable agricultural practices to fight hunger and alleviate poverty even in the city. In 2016, joining Empower, I was able to reach more people. Empower gave me the feasibility and the exposure I needed to scale my organization from where it was to where it is now. Because of the opportunities Empower has actually given me and the facilities they provided us, whereby we are going to schools, partnering with the teachers, training the children on sustainable agricultural practices. We have a lot of youth, women, and children who benefited from our platform. Even what I'm doing on a small scale has actually brought me a lot of local and international recognition. Currently, I won the Nigerian American Partnership Award and the US Consular General Award based on what I'm doing right from my community here.
Welcome back. The news continues in Abuja. The Federal Capital Territory Administration is set to create over 5,000 plots of land from the Phase 4 new districts, created in the Phase 4 South of the Federal Capital City. Director, FCT Land Administration Adamu Hussaini Jibril disclosed this in an interview with Shaibu Onoze Yakubu.
New districts include Mamusa North and East, Pafu North and South, which have already been designed based on the neighborhood concept. Director FCT Land Administration Adamu Hussaini Jibril says the new districts will provide over 4,000 residential and commercial plots public institutions as well as other facilities. He added that the Department of Urban and Regional Planning is presently undertaking a detailed surveying work of the districts in order to make them available for allocation to prospective property owners.
The administration has given approval for the creation of 4 new districts, where we'll have more than 5,000 plots that will be allocated, right? The survey and mapping are working on the surveying of those new districts. As soon as it's done, we will allocate those lands, as well as resolve a lot of local allocation issues that we inherited.
The director commended FCT Minister Muhammad Musa Bello for repositioning the Land Use and Allocation Committee for efficiency.
The constitution of the Land Use Allocation Committee, we have achieved a lot, because the committee, which is chaired by the permanent secretary, has all the technical departments, the directors as members, where we resolve issues objectively. As issue comes, the committee will look at it and resolve it. And there's that signage that has been created between the stakeholder departments. So we're able to achieve a lot.
He called on allottees of plots in the FCT to endeavor to pay their title bills, like the ground rents and premium charges, warning that non-payment of these bills for a period of 3 years can lead to revocation. Shuaibu Onozeyakubu, NTA News.
It's now time to join Sadia in Sokoto for more reports trending there. Over to you, Sadia.
Lydia, welcome to Sokoto, seat of the Caliphate. Zamfara State Security Council has reiterated its commitment towards engaging qualified civilian joint task force that will complement the effort of conventional security in curtailing the security challenges facing the state. At a meeting, the Security Council reviewed the recruitment exercise to achieve the set objective. Haliru Muhammad Umar has more.
The recruitment exercise of 8,500 civilian security joint task force had recently commenced in Zamfara State shortly after the State Security Council resolved to engage 500 civilians from each of the 17 emirates across the state. The Security Council, chaired by the State Governor Abdulaziz Yari, had reconvened to review the exercise with a view to putting it in proper perspective. Briefing newsmen after the meeting, Secretary to the State Government, Professor Abdullahi Muhammad Shinkafi, said the Council clearly defined the expected roles of those intended to be recruited. He said 200 civilians in each of the emirates will serve as guides to the security operatives, considering the fact that they are more conversant with their terrain, while the remaining 300 are to assist in information sharing and intelligence gathering.
What we are trying to do is to enhance their capacity and ensure their performance and operations within the ambit of the law.
Professor Shinkafi, who noted that the Council is determined to ensure careful selection of the civilian JTFs, stressed that only people of proven integrity will be engaged in the exercise. All stakeholders in security management of the state are said to be fully involved in the exercise, just as arrangements are being made for the training of the new employees, as well as their uniforms and other means of identification. In Gusau, Haliru Muhammad Umar, NTA News.
The fight against poliomyelitis is still on. It is part of effort to certify Nigeria polio-free. Sokoto State, in conjunction with development partners, is holding a 6-day campaign to drive forward the process. Zainab Said Abdul Nasir has more.
The 6-day campaign is taking place in 8 high-risk local government areas. These local governments were chosen due to high number of missed children during immunization. The local governments are Sokoto North, Sokoto South, Wamako, Bodinga, Yabo, Wurnu, Dengeshuni, and Kwari. Services being provided are routine immunization, birth registration and certificates, oral polio vaccine, hepatitis B, and inactivated polio vaccine IPV. The IPV is aimed at strengthening children with low immunity, and it blocks transmission of imported virus when there is an outbreak.
For this outbreak response, we target all the under 5, not only the under 1 year, with this inactivated polio vaccine, which has been converted into a fractionalized form. That is, the dose that is required for 10 children has now been converted to a dose of for 50 children.
Poliomyelitis is a viral disease that can kill when it affects the brain and the respiratory muscles, but mostly it affects one or both upper or lower limbs, leading to disability. The ongoing vaccination is at fixed posts that include schools, mosques, and primary health centers. The teams use a community mobilizer who goes house to house to mobilize the children, and a town announcer who announces the location of the vaccinators. Immunization is the right of every child, and Nigeria is one of the 3 countries where the virus still exists. In Sokoto, Zainab Saidu Abdul Nasir, NTA News.
Contractors handling projects under the Sokoto State Universal Basic Education Board have been warned against shady jobs. The board chairman, Alhaji Bello Yusuf Denchatli, gave the warning while inspecting ongoing projects under the UBEC-SUBEB 2016 intervention program in Sokoto State. Sheikh Muhammad Detti completes the story.
The projects inspected by the Chairman State Universal Basic Education Board Sokoto include construction of 1 block of 3 classrooms at Nizamiya Islamia Model Primary School Yabu, site of a new primary school in Bawari layout and Bodinga local government, where the team appreciated the completion of the fence for Takatuku Model Primary School to improve security. Also visited were a total renovation of Turaki Model Primary School in Sokoto, 1 block of 3 classrooms at 500 Housing Estate Primary School, the fence for the Latu Model Primary School Turunwada and Churuma Bello Model Primary School Eastern Bypass Sokoto, at Tantabo Village Primary School, where a block of 3 classrooms is being constructed.
I'm highly impressed by the way and manner the contractors handle the construction work in all the schools that I have visited. However, I made an observation that the windows and doors supplied by the contractor in Yabo and Entabo, they are substandard.
Furniture will be provided to all the schools under Universal Basic Education Commission, State Universal Basic Education Board 2017 Intervention Program in Sokoto. Show Muhammad Detti, NTA News.
That's all from Sokoto. It's now back to Lydia in Abuja for more on Nationwide. Good evening.
Many thanks, Sadia. The increase in rice production in recent times are pointers to exportation beyond food security and wealth creation in growing the nation's gross domestic product, GDP. Agriculture analysts said this on NTA's Current Affairs program, Tuesday Live. Talatu Ezerike has more.
In the 60s to late 80s, agriculture was the nation's major revenue earner, especially with the granite pyramid, cocoa and rubber production. These analysts say was affected by the advent of oil and subsequently by policy somersault and bad governance. The narratives are being tackled to revamp the agriculture sector that is reading results in rice production in recent times.
If you want to make money too, join the league of people who make rice so that you too will be among the people who are smiling to the bank.
Going by the records, virtually all states of the Federation are producers of rice farmed almost twice yearly, with increased milling machines and enabling environment to boost rice production. The success story, many say, has saved the country more than $200 billion annually from importation, strengthened states' commercial synergy, and created jobs along the value chain of the commodity.
All the elements of a revolution are in place. Critical mass developing, confidence enveloping, so that everyone says, oh, so this is what we have been missing out. And countries of the world now are beginning to acknowledge that, oh, so when Nigeria says it's going to do something, we better believe them, because they will do it. And this the right story has shown that in President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, because every stakeholder has been mobilized, and this linked to our food security quest.
There are, however, concerns over what people see as international blackmail and wrong connotation to rice revolution. As a result of the cluster development initiative that the Anchor Borrower program is supporting, the country is on the right track
for sustainability?
We are very ready, to ensure food sustainability in Nigeria. So we don't see any problem at all with rice production.
Well, analysts are advocating concerted efforts in consolidating on present gains in revamping the agricultural sector. After all, land is a free gift of nature that should be properly harnessed for effective results. Talati Izurike, NTA News.
Thanks, Talatu. From the rice revolution in Nigeria to the Ogoni cleanup. The federal government is making frantic efforts to fulfill its promise of implementing the United Nations Environmental Programme UNEP report on Ogoni cleanup. To this end, contract letters for the remediation of the land are to be issued next week. Minister of State Environment Ibrahim Usman Jibril stated this while discussing the update on Ogoni cleanup on NTA's program Good Morning Nigeria. Murjana to Adam Said reports.
Government flag off of the United Nations Environmental Programme report on the Ogoni cleanup in June 2016 was greeted with accolades as residents of the area, and indeed other Nigerians were happy that the much-awaited dream of Niger Delta region is becoming a reality. Minister of State Environment Ibrahim Usman Jibril said work is already in progress as federal government has reached the point of no return on the project.
We've reached an advanced stage since after the flag off 2 years ago. The entire exercise is a cleaning exercise to free the entire environment from the hydrocarbons that have contaminated this area for the past 40 years.
He said the project document has made adequate provision for the involvement of local content, pointing out that there is no project as huge as the Ogoni cleanup at the moment. Chairman Senate Committee on FEMA, who represents River South East at the Senatorial District, appreciated the effort of the federal government towards ensuring the success of the Ogoni clean-up.
The point I would like to make, and which I will emphasize and insist on, is that we cannot treat this project as just a federal procurement process. Yes, the need to have proper technical competence in order to be able to deliver on the expectations, not just of the locals, but of the international community in terms of what it's actually done, is important.
He urged the state government to be more involved in the project. In Abuja, Murjana to Adam Said, NTA News.
Time to go on another short break. Stay tuned.
News which is shared for malicious purposes is a danger to our peace and security in Nigeria. Misinformation as fake news is a serious threat to our hard-earned democracy and promotes hatred and misunderstanding between our communities. We are all responsible for stopping the spread of fake news in its tracks. So, always check the source and credibility of any news item. Say no to fake news. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Yeah, Modena. Do you have Yamala? Yes. And Abula? Yes, sir. Black or white? Yamala. Have I ever eaten white Amala here before? Yes, sir. Give me Amala and Abula. Do you have dodo? Dodo ground. Good. Let me have some dodo. I want you to put the meat in a bowl. Shaki, suku, abodi. I like my edo to be very tender. You have stockfish? Yes, sir. Good. Let's have some stockfish. And catfish, my favorite. Don't mind them. You have eggs. I would like 6 boiled eggs. No eggs. Okay, catfish will do. And then rice. Rice and then some salad. Look. Never mind. Do you have a kuru?
Welcome back. The federal government is set to utilize the human potentials of members of the Alumni Association of the National Institute in order to ensure effective implementation of its policies and programs to better the lives of its populace. The Permanent Secretary, General Service Olusegun Odekunle, who represented the SGF, stated this when members of the alumni paid him a visit. The SGF noted that with myriads of challenges in the area of security, socio-economic aspects, as well as tackling unemployment, the advisory role of the alumni will be pivoted in tackling these challenges. In transforming the
we need
through
to solve a lot of about political violence. We're addressing issues of drugs amongst youths, and indeed it cuts across all ages. All of this, in the archives of the National Institute, you have proffered solutions.
I believe equally that this office needs to be palling with the Alumni Association on a regular basis, based on the availability of time, but we are recommending at least once per quarter, so that we can be able to discuss major issues concerning the government and the way forward, because that is what we are trained to do.
The president of the alumni, Khalil Bolaji, also presented the communique of their last summit as a way out in the change agenda of the present government. A university don, Professor Timothy Olagbemiro, has stressed the need for tertiary institutions in Nigeria to evolve pragmatic approach to ensure that citizens enjoy functional and sustainable system. Professor Olagbemiro stated this in Iwo while delivering the 13th convocation lecture of Bowen University. Correspondent Tokwe Alabi has more.
The lecture, titled Tilted Tower, A Paradox of Nigeria's Tertiary Institutions, highlighted potholes which would cause Ivory Tower to develop tilts that negates their roles as beacon of truth, enlightenment, freedom, unity, and shared responsibilities. Professor Timothy Olagbemiro noted that universities must continue to prefer solutions to societal challenges if they want to remain relevant.
You should have more interest in these students. You should take them more as the future leader of tomorrow.
Because Nigeria has everything to perform better than what we are doing.
Statistics have shown that Nigeria is far below the UNESCO recommended 26% of the annual budget to fund education, as out of the 52.141 trillion naira budgeted between 2010 and 2018, only 3.7 trillion, which is about 8.2%, was allocated to education. Nigerian universities, according to the lecture, must employ our educational experience with innovation to revolve around our culture, needs, vision, mission, and aspiration to be able to contribute meaningfully to national development. From the Bowen University in Iwo, Tokwe Alabi, NTA News.
Sports update is next with Amanzi Marcus.
Delta State government has promised to gift the Super Eagles $25,000 for each goal scored against South Africa